The Big 12 released their 2025-2026 men's basketball matrix. In today's video, we'll discuss Texas Tech knowing who and where they'll play, not quite when yet, and why. The Red Raiders got a pretty easy home draw, but that road schedule, man, that's a gauntlet. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. Appreciate y'all tuning in to today's video. If you want 100% free Texas Tech men's basketball content and Texas Tech football content all year long, this is the place for you. And all you have to do is simply like the video and hit that subscribe button. Before we get into it, shout out to Coach Glasgow. I mean, my goodness, they are absolutely killing it. Is Texas Tech softball on the recruiting trail? They are not resting on their laurels per se. I was told Texas Tech softball was just buying their way to getting there, and they were never going to actually get to where they were. Well, I think that they took that personal, and they are trying to go back to where they were just a few outs away from winning a national title last year. Anyway, let's jump into Texas Tech men's basketball. As you can see on your screen, this is from Texas Tech basketball over on Twitter. The TTU matrix is unloaded for 2026. You have this, and again, we don't know exactly when these games will be played, but we know where and who against. You can see it on your screen right there, the home matchups that Texas Tech will play. Cincinnati, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, and Utah. You feel pretty good about that. Realistically, the toughest matchup on that slate right there is more than likely going to be Kansas. You can't take Cincinnati lightly, nor can you take Kansas State now that they have PJ Haggerty leading their backcourt, but you feel pretty good about that in terms of your home slate. Now, you have home plus away, which means you play each of these teams twice, one at your place at the USA, and then on the road. So you will head out to Provo to play AJ Debanza in the loaded, and I mean absolutely loaded, BYU Cougars. Then you'll head out to Boulder and you'll play, well, the Colorado Buffaloes, a team that I think you should probably sweep. And then you play the national runner-up in the Houston Cougars, not only in the 806, but down in H-Town. So you feel good about that. And one of the major reasons why is, in my opinion, the three best teams going into the preseason in the Big 12 are your Red Raiders, the BYU Cougars, and the Houston Cougars. Put them in any order you want. I think you probably got to put Houston number 1, BYU 2, Tech 3, or swap BYU and Tech. But you feel like you are a marquee brand in terms of the Big 12 designed this to where Texas Tech, Houston, and BYU are playing each other twice because they view those as the top 3 teams going into next season. Now, I mentioned the road. The road schedule is a gauntlet, okay? You got to go out to Tucson yet again. You got to go out to Tempe yet again. You got to go to Waco, Ames, Orlando, and then all the way out to Morgantown. That's tough, okay? The easiest game on that schedule, toss-up probably between UCF and Arizona State, but, I mean, you're likely playing realistically with the home and away and the aways only. You're playing 6 teams on the road that are likely going to make the NCAA tournament. Now, if you're having a tough time reading that, no worries. I've got you covered here. As you can see on your screen right now, here is the home only, the away only, and both a little easier to read out there. Again, home only, you feel pretty good about it. Kansas is probably the hardest team on that slate, specifically in terms of home only, not including both, right? But you have to respect Cincinnati. I think Wes Miller has done a phenomenal job in terms of trying to reload from the high expectations they had last year where they just did not meet them. They went out and were aggressive in the portal. Now you've got Kansas State with PJ Haggerty as well. Oklahoma State will probably be better in year number 2 of their head coach, Jamie Dixon. They always seem to be around 500 in the Big 12. In Utah, they surprised some people and upset some teams last year. Now, again, in my opinion, this is one of those deals where you look at it and you feel pretty good that the Big 12 views you as one of the 3 marquee teams in the Big 12 from the sense of BYU and their just $1 million upon $1 million roster with AJ Debanza leading the way, the number 1 recruit in this past year's high school cycle and likely the number 1 pick, not in the coming weeks in 2025, but in 2026 in the NBA draft. Colorado, okay, you feel good about potentially sweeping them both in Boulder and out in Lubbock, obviously, and then Houston, the national runner-up, as I mentioned. Overall, in my opinion, this is one of those tales of home and away. Did they get a tough draw? I think they did in terms of the road, did the Red Raiders. But the home slate, I think that's probably as good as you could have asked for, right? You think about your success rate at home against Kansas. It's obviously been pretty damn good in recent memory. You have the next hardest team coming in, and it's like, okay, like you feel pretty good about that from the standpoint of, is it Cincinnati? Is it Kansas State? But overall, you are going to be one of the three most talented teams in the Big 12. So you are always going to get a little bit tougher of a draw just from they want those marquee matchups, and you get that with BYU and Houston. But overall, I feel like this is probably right down the middle in the sense of how easy the home slate is. And I say easy, it's the Big 12, right? Like every game is difficult. But compared to the away matchups only, it probably balances out. And then obviously you've got BYU and Houston, as I've mentioned multiple times now. It's cool though. You know, Texas Tech is going to be, in my opinion, at minimum, a top 15 team going into the preseason alongside BYU and Houston. It wouldn't surprise me if Houston is the preseason number one. We shall see. But I really like where Texas Tech actually landed in terms of that. Now we're going to have to see how it puzzles together in terms of when they play these teams, because that's going to be difficult. Specifically, say you got 3 back-to-back road games. Obviously not something you're going to like, but we'll see how it, puzzles together in terms of when that schedule is released. But the matrix itself, I think you've got to feel pretty good about it considering the team you have coming in if you are the Red Raiders for 2025-2026, obviously led by the Big 12 Player of the Year, the reigning Big 12 Player of the Year, and JT Toppin, as well as Christian Anderson and some of those big-time portal additions led by Washington State transfer Luan Watts. Now, if you've gotten this late into the video, congrats. There was a name to watch on the thumbnail here on YouTube, and we'll talk about him right now. But before we do, be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Now, Texas Tech, as I think a lot of people are wondering, what are they going to do with the guard spot they have open? Because simple and plain, they cannot go into next year with Christian Anderson being the lead primary ball handler and then his backup being Nolan Groves. No disrespect to Nolan Groves, not trying to throw him under the bus at all, but you simply can't do that. I think Nolan Groves could be productive in some senses, but no way should he be the guy where you feel like he has to be that second primary ball handler from a specific outlined guard position, right? So we're going to talk about the name that there's been a little bit of buzz around Texas Tech, and he actually just decommitted from Stanford. I am talking about Jalen Petty, okay? He is a guard, a 2025 4-star point guard from Seattle, Washington. He's listed as 6 foot, 165. He's probably closer to 5'10", if we're being honest. But he is the reigning Washington State High School Basketball Player of the Year. And there's a ton of smoke around Texas Tech really prioritizing him as a flip. And now he has officially, at the time of this recording, and you're listening to it on Thursday, June 12th, has officially decommitted from Stanford and opened up his recruitment process. He averaged 24.5 points per game last year, just about 6 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 3.2 steals, while leading his high school to a 28-3 record and a 3A state title up in the state of Washington. He is ranked as the 118th best player in the 2025 class, that according to 247 Sports, and he is regarded in this class of 2025 as one of the more difficult players to prepare for because he may be on the smaller side, but damn it, is he quick, shifty, and has a high basketball IQ. He specifically excels in the pick and roll, and from what I can see, his high school actually ran a full court press the whole game, so maybe that's where that 3.2 steals per game came from, but he was the head of the snake of that full court defense, okay? He has a strong handle. He's a stronger finisher than his body would really make you think. Again, listed as 6 foot, probably closer to 5'10" if we're being honest, but he has a smooth jump shot as well. He's an above average passer, loves to get out and transition, and athletically, he's got some bounce where, again, listed as 6 foot, but he probably plays closer to 6'2", 6'3", with the bounciness he has. He would be a guy that he would not start right away alongside Christian Anderson, but I think he would be a really productive freshman and a guy that would be a key rotational piece for the Red Raiders in that backcourt unit led by obviously Christian Anderson, the Tyree Bryans of the world, Donovan Atwell, so on and so forth. He is a guy that I think could really develop and be a guy that plays on that second unit, and you feel very, very comfortable with him being on that second unit for the Red Raiders. Again, that name, for those that missed it, is Jalen Petty. You spell that Jaylen, Petty, Petty. He is the reigning Washington State High School Basketball Player of the Year. He just committed from Stanford, and there is a ton of smoke that Texas Tech is prioritizing him now that he is officially looking to go elsewhere for his college career. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. If you haven't already, one more time, be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button if you want 100% free Texas Tech content all year long, whether it's on the gridiron or the hardwood. We've got you covered right here on the most subscribed to Texas Tech YouTube channel and the Back to 12 podcast channel. And as always, I'm RC Maxfield reminding you to stay safe in Reckham Tech.